Again, it's like being there for the children. That's what I hear you say, and try not to pry too much. Kind of like giving them the space, but let them know that you are close by. You're there. Do you have a third one?
Let's see. I don't think I do.
It's funny you talk about being overbearing. Like, for parents not to be overbearing, I have a question here. Do you think I'm an overbearing mom? Be honest.
Sometimes.
How? I mean, sometimes how?
The fact that it starts getting a little dark outside, and on I'm just like by Jacob's house or something. Like, you call me. It's like 3 p.m. Come home. The sky's showing hints of purple. I'm like, what?
It is dark with some boy.
Okay. So maybe
you get
that's
the picture.
That's just me just being...
Exactly. I was a teenager, so stuff happens in the dark. Oops. Anyways, how would you describe our relationship?
I would say it's very respectful, because you know that I respect your boundaries. You know that I have to do certain things, but you also respect me in a way that you want to make sure that I have my own space, that I have enough down in my space, that I get like designated time for myself. And yeah.
Okay, respect. Okay. All right. Thank you for saying that. You're not just being nice, are you?
No, because that's what it feels like.
Well, thank you. I love you too, baby boo. Okay, so the next one. Do you think being a young Christian is boring? I'm asking you this because a lot of young people feel like, oh, being a Christian is boring. They feel like they are restricted or something is just wrong. So they can. I mean, I know for me when I was growing up, because like I tell you this story all the time, right? Because the way it was presented to me, even though I loved God, there was this fear, and it wasn't that kind of a reverent fear like you respect God fear. It wasn't kind of like if I messed up, God was gonna just throw something at me, and that was the end of my life. That was how I felt like I was taught, right? But as I got older, I started to understand God to be loving, and that you know what Pastor Lo always says, regardless of my mistake, whatever I do, God still loves me. Like, it's that unconditional love. So I was like, oh my days. But in my teenage years, I've always been a Christian. I grew up being a Christian and everything. So I've always been that teenage, young, lover of God and all of that. Even though the experiences kind of like look back now, I wish some things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for you, being that you are being raised in the same house, in the Christian household, you are being raised the same way that I was raised as a Christian, like I'm teaching you the ways of God and sharing with you. And I remember what age you were when you called me and you wanted to be born again. Remember that day, and I prayed for you and you became born again. So and I see how you've grown. I see how you deal with challenges that you may have with school or even with friends and all, just growing up and all that. So do you think it's boring being a Christian?
So for the teenagers like me in middle school and high school, elementary school was small, it was manageable, everything was in neat lines, you knew people, you waved to people in the hallways. Middle school in comparison is unhinged.
I think you did the first year of your middle school, you did it at home, because that was the COVID thing, right? You didn't go into school until...
I did.
Was it?
Yeah. The first semester I did it.
You went for a whole year? Before we went on...
a whole year, that was 6th grade. No.
Was it?
No, I wasn't home for a whole year. I know I went...
When the COVID started?
Yeah, there was a year in between there, but...
Oh, okay. But I know, that the beginning of the COVID thing, sorry, we were just digressing. When the whole thing started, you were home for 1 year, then after that, before we now transitioned to hybrid, and you now went fully into school. Yeah, I don't know. So
no,
back to the question that you're responding to. Sorry.
So
do you think it's boring being a teenage Christian?
So in comparison
to
boring, the other people in middle school who obviously aren't Christians, you see people wearing their hair however they like, wearing the clothes however they like, and you're like, gosh, I wish I could wear clothes like that, but you know you never could because of the household you're from. And in retrospect, yeah, it is very boring sometimes. You're like, oh, I wish I could say this about myself or do this to myself or do what I wanted to. But then again, you just have to stay true to yourself at some points, because being raised in a Christian household, I can't think of life without Christ. And that's what scares me, because I wonder how these people function each day, not knowing that there's someone always watching them, keeping them safe. And now for some people that may sound very scary and creepy, but to me as a Christian that sounds reassuring.
That's powerful. So
Yeah.
kind of reassuring that no matter what, God is with you, no matter what, you know you're loved.
So yeah.
Okay. So do you think, I want to ask you this because you said something there, like even looking at your friends, there's some things that they do, some things that they wear, but to an extent I let you wear whatever, right? I just say you want to be comfortable and not exposed, right? Too much, right? But you said I want to ask this question. So when you, let's say, I mean, you're going to eventually, right, when you now leave the house, do you feel like, oh, that gives you a license, like, oh, I wasn't able to do this, like, do you feel too restricted? Maybe that's kind of where I'm going. Do you feel too restricted to the point that it's like, oh, I can't wait to get out of this house?
No, like the only reason I would get out is just because I want my own cat and like
your own cat and your own
and
zoo.
plastic plants and a nice open windowed condo somewhere in Germany. But I'm getting off topic there. It doesn't really give me a license to do that, because I know there's always going to be something in the back of my mind telling me I really shouldn't be doing this, and at some point I'm going to get a guilty conscience and back out. And another thing, I'm way too self-conscious to do anything like big.
And I have a question before I jump to the last. Okay, let me ask this one. So what is your advice for teens who think that Christianity is boring, or being a Christian is boring?
I would say, I don't want to say test the waters, because some people might just jump out of it and never come back to it. But still, like, let yourself be out of it. Let people know you're a Christian, but still push the bounds of it. And if you feel like it's really holding you back, go to the Lord about it. Ask Him, what is my boundary? What are the boundaries that you've set for me? Because the Bible is so helpful in many ways. And I know it feels outdated and old, but I have this very nice teen Bible that actually kind of relates some stuff to every day, even though it's very assumptuous in some ways.
How do you mean?
It's like, oh, your older sibling has taken your Game Boy.
Yeah,
how are you supposed to feel like that?
He's trying to give you like, he's trying to relate the story to like reality, like your day-to-day.
I know, but it just annoys
so
me.
So you also understand the passage, right?
Yeah, sometimes, but it's like, oh, this person in a 3-story mansion feels so lonely, but he has the word of Christ, and I'm like, okay, it's not actually like that. That's
you're just asking the way you feel, yeah. And again, like you said, the word of God is outdated, and no, it's not old, it's not outdated.
I didn't mean outdated. New. I just meant it feels past.
Yeah, because people in the past lived in that, so we right now we kind of look into their own lives, and let's see what you're saying about your teen's Bible. That's why it gives that example of the times you are in today, because that's the way you would understand the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, so God's word is forever new. So my next question, I think I had a thought. Oh, I just went off my head. Let me see. I had a thought before I wanted to go into this, but it might come back to me. Okay, so if you were, this is just some kind of trivia. If you were president for one day, what would you change? And what would you sign into law? Like, what would you change and what would you allow or something?
So those like abortion laws that people have been talking about and stuff, gone. I know it's like certain mothers, but you have to think some people can't take care of the babies, and nowadays the current generation. This one time where everyone was coming back from work, was like, oh, let's have children. That's gone now. Nobody wants children. They just want to film their perfect, happy little lives in a weird condo.
When you say abortion law is gone, what is the abortion law?
It was some confusing thing we learned in civics, but like, yeah, it's a certain amount of weeks, or they just can't do it, like they can't abort.
They can't have an abortion, okay.
I want to get rid of those. I know it may seem a bit harsh, but you have to think about the circumstances some people.
So when you say
are in.
get rid of those, like, are you gonna allow abortion or not allow abortion?
Well, that's up to the people.
So what does the abortion law does not allow for abortion?
I don't know.
So if you get rid of that, so you are leaving to the people to decide if they want to have an abortion or not? Oh, okay. It's interesting. That's kind of yeah.